Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to Disarranged Talk Show. Joining you live from Be More and the D, your hosts, Matt and Andrew. Please like, subscribe, and comment.
I guess I should turn the rack music off, right?
What's going on, friend? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. Thanks for a great intro. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Disarranged Talk Show, where a healthy network is a strong network. I'm your host, Andrew Turner. Joined with me is my good friend and co-host, Matthew Gardner. We have a great show planned for you this evening, but first I want to get in and thank our sponsor for the show tonight, Neptune's Plumbing and Heating. Listen, Baltimore, in the Mid-Atlantic area, if you're listening and watching right now, for the next 7 days from the time that this episode airs, excuse me, it's a coupon night. Neptune's Plumbing is offering $50 off any plumbing service, but that does not include diagnostics, and it's also offering $75 off boiler repairs and boiler installs, and it's not valid for customer supplied, so please ask them about their tank list services. Call Dan Gedicke at 410-776-5864. Tonight, again, Baltimore, Mid-Atlantic area. Tonight is a coupon night. Mention episode number 47, Disarranged Talk Show, before service and to redeem your coupon. So thank you very much to Neptune's Plumbing and Dan Gedicke. Tonight, we're going to be breaking into a really mainstream topic, mental health. It's a hot commodity on really every social media platform where everybody's talking about it. But tonight, Matt and I thought it'd be interesting to really delegate tonight for kind of siloing men in the mental health world and breaking down some of the statistics that are out there under men's mental health, with understanding that men make up 75% of the suicides in America in a given year. Did you know that, Matt?
I did. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I do. It's a pretty sad statistic.
So we wanted to basically dedicate a show to it. But before we get into all that, if you're new to the show or not new to the show, you know what time it is. Matt, why don't you hit us with some current events?
And now, your news and current events with Matt G.
Do we recognize this?
Is this
Because you know what I'm starting with tonight.
is this Go Blue?
This is the fight song for the University of Michigan. So if you've been living under a rock,
I have.
and you don't know, yeah, I had to put this a part of the current events because, you know, I'm in Michigan and I love U of M. And I
Okay.
want to rub. I know we have a lot of Ohio State guys or Ohio guys, right?
Okay.
Watch the program. So this is just my chance to rub this in their face again that Michigan went. Yep, go on.
Yeah, real quick question. Sorry to interrupt, but like, what? Can you give me a background of this whole hatred between Michigan and Ohio State?
Dude, you're talking decades in this rivalry, and
Okay.
so it kind of went back and forth. Michigan owned it for a long time, and then more recently, Ohio State has taken care of Michigan pretty handily until the last 2 years.
Okay.
Last year, Michigan or Ohio State went into Michigan and got their asses handed to them, and then this year, um, with barely anybody picking them, and with not having their starting running back, they went into the horseshoe, Ohio State, and
Mhm.
well, they became their daddy. So I mean, you saw the flag planted on the 50-yard line, so you know what's going on. But yes, so U of M is undefeated for the year, and
All right.
they're going to go face Purdue in the Big Ten championship tomorrow. But I wanted to get into what we're looking at for the college football ranking because I want to talk again about Ohio State and how they're ranked number 5. Instead of getting into the NFL, uh, I just okay. So basically, I don't know if do you know how this goes, the playoff ranking?
No. I, I was just going to ask you about college football, but I mean,
Well, so
go ahead. I mean,
it's a lot more complicated than the NFL, right? It's a lot more. They take into consideration strength of schedule, how much you lost by. You know what I mean?
really.
So if one team
Okay.
got beat down by like 60 points and the other team only lost by a touchdown, if you were home or if you were away, all those things are taken into consideration. But what really got me is when they made this final 4 teams going into the college playoffs. So basically, I'm going to put it up again. These 4 teams: Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC.
Mm-hmm.
So the top 2 teams are secure, right? Michigan can lose tomorrow, and they'll still be in the playoffs. Now, if
Okay.
TCU or USC loses, um, really USC at number 4, Ohio State has a chance to slide into that spot, and that just drives me crazy because they just got wiped last
So what's
weekend.
so so what's it going to take for them to get into that spot?
They're gonna need USC to lose. So all the conferences will play their championship games
All
tomorrow.
right. Yeah.
If USC loses, then Ohio State slides in there. And although I'm intrigued to maybe see Michigan kick their ass one more time, there's something that says we probably don't want to see them again.
All right.
So, but this is the best time for college football, man. It's awesome. You got the conference championships, you got the playoffs coming up, and Michigan will not be if they end up playing Georgia, they're not going to be favored. Georgia is a powerhouse. They are the defending champs from
Right.
last year, and they're SEC team. So though those conferences are like supposed to be far above the Big Ten and stuff. There's more NFL play calling, more talent, really. So Michigan will never have a chance, I think, against Georgia. But I'm excited. It was great to watch Michigan just destroy Ohio State, watch all their fans cry, and yeah, it was just lovely. And I thought I'd just bring it up one more time. So I got another. Go ahead.
No, I was just say I never really got into. I've never really got into college football. Like, I mean, I like watching the NFL just because it brings people together and everyone gets to eat junk food, drink, and be merry. But I never really. I mean, I understand college football's got better at like it's just better football because they're all trying to make a name for themselves and try to ultimately get into the NFL, right?
Yeah, and it's different this year because they, in years past, those athletes were not allowed to profit from their name, right? So if you had an athlete that's jersey was selling, you know, millions of jerseys, even though his name's not on the back of it, they know the number. And these universities are, I mean, the amount of money these universities get for these bowl games is astonishing. And the athletes got none of it, right? So they just changed the rule this year where you can do your name, image, and likeness. You could profit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what I think that probably is because everyone it's so easy to brand yourself nowadays with social
Yep.
media and what we're doing, cell phones.
Yep.
Um, people are going to do it anyways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's way harder now to stop that from happening.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's good because they kept bringing up student athlete, but
Right.
they're not a student athlete when you're making millions of dollars off of them.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I understand they're getting free rides, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not fair.
No.
They've always should have been able to something. I don't know, have the money go towards like a fund for 5, 10 years until they get out or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for that. Go blue tomorrow, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. So stay tuned. But I got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know this guy?
How'd you get my picture?
I was just gonna say, there's a picture of me. Uh, so
Yes,
for
yes, I do. Yes,
oh,
so that is the infamous Liver King, right?
right. So for those of you who don't know, the Liver King is this guy who really came on the scenes like I think 2 years ago, and
Okay.
they showed his like TikTok followers 2 years ago. He had like 3,000 or something like this, or something like that. Now he has 3.4 million.
Yeah,
Right,
I think it was in like the tens of thousands, but like
something like that. Yeah.
it was nothing compared to what he has now. Yeah.
No.
So why is he being brought up, brother?
So this guy believes, well, he preached that we should live a primal lifestyle, right? And his
Mhm.
thing was eating raw liver, eating all these uh, raw meats and living off the land and all. He does these intense workouts, but I mean, you don't have to be a doctor to look at this guy and know that he's not natural, right?
Right.
So people have questioned him about it for years, and it's always been no, no, no. And the crappy thing is he's been selling these supplements that are supposed to be all natural and stuff, and he's
Right.
telling these kids they could be just like him and all this stuff. And recently, as last night, I think there was an email leaked that he sent to a bodybuilder, um, where he went out this long list of all the different steroids he uses.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. So it finally came out.
Yep. So somebody got him, and apparently he spends $12,000 a month on human growth hormone.
Really?
Yep.
How $12,000?
Yep. Well, he's making $100 million a year right now off his supplement line.
So that's pocket change.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
pocket
So
change.
I mean, and who knows what's going to happen to
Well,
him now?
here's the thing. Before we even get into that, let's bring me in. Let's talk about it. Um, I guess first off, I never really believed him as soon as I saw it. I was like, it's eventually going to be time where it's going to come out that he's on some sort of enhancement drug, right?
Right.
But here's my thing. he's doing whatever. Look at today. When is anyone held accountable for lying and profiting off it in modern day society? Can you
Right.
give one example?
Oh.
So listen, so exactly, you can't,
Right.
and I don't think anybody watching can. So what's going to happen is, yes, he's made 100 million. So let's just say the last 2 years he's really popped off.
Right.
So let's say he's made close to $200 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is he'll take a hit, but listen, all of a sudden when social media, it doesn't matter if you're doing good or bad, social media is still going to pick it up. He's still going to make thousands, tens and
Oh yeah.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on interviews and social
Yep.
media stuff.
Yeah. Now
So
he will. Yeah.
there's no loss. Some people will drop off and not support him probably like they did, and they won't buy his supplements. But I gotta say, if you're one of those people that bought into that whole shit, like, I'm sorry, you got, but you should have realized, like, there's not a human being that can have a stomach like that.
Right. That's what they're
Right?
saying. It's called like roid gut, right? Because
Yeah,
literally
absolutely.
everything grows, including your head, and you can tell the guy's got a giant melon. But um, your intestines grow too, from what doctors say. So that's why that's the roid gut. It's literally pushing your abs out.
Did you see pictures of him years ago? Just like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever?
Yes, he was small. I mean,
Tiny.
he was still built, but he's not anything. Let's take a look one more time.
No, he was half that, easily half that.
Yeah.
And his face, like you said, everything was a lot smaller. When I saw him, and look, if we would have had a shot to put, like, to have those side by side,
Yeah.
and I hate to say this, but one would look like he's sick compared to the other one.
Oh yeah.
And
100%.
crazily
So,
enough, he was probably more healthier when he was smaller.
yeah.
But I'm glad I listen. I'm interested to see what happens. I'm glad you brought it up. It was only a matter of time before something came out.
Oh yeah,
Right?
and you can't get away with that stuff nowadays, man. There's just
Mm-mm.
there's no way with as many people are, especially if you make yourself a target by saying you don't do something. There's somebody sitting in their mom's basement that has nothing but time to sit there and track your shit down. You know, it's inevitable.
You think that email just leaked without any financial? Come on,
Oh no,
come on.
100%.
That
Yeah.
guy, as soon as Liver King started blowing up a year and a half ago, he was like, all right. And as soon as he started pushing his agenda of, like, natural and ancestral living and 9 ancestral
Right.
tendencies,
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, the 9.
you know,
Yeah.
it was bound to come out. So I look forward to following up on it. Let us know down in the comments below what you think. If you haven't looked into him, unfortunately, I'd say go look into his story.
I mean,
It's
it's interesting.
interesting.
If you go to
Yeah,
his TikTok, I mean, he's an entertaining guy.
right.
So it will be interesting to see what happens now.
Yeah. So listen, man, I think it's time. Let's get into why we're all here tonight, and what we really wanted to talk about is men's mental health. We understand. I think everyone watching and everyone listening understands that we have a little bit of a crisis on our hands in general with mental health. I think it's something that we can all agree on. Taking a little bit step further, men's mental health is something that I think is overlooked.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Matt?
Yeah, and I think the statistics show that it's overlooked, and we'll get into the reasons why, and the reasons why men themselves just don't really reach out and take care of themselves.
Well, I can, speaking for myself, and nobody else, I feel as men, where there's a lot of weight that's put on our shoulders that I guess women wouldn't understand, right? Like, just like I don't understand what it's like to be a woman. I wouldn't imagine they would understand what it's like to have the weight of just being a man in general.
Well, let's clarify that statement, right? So I think you're saying that emotionally wise, they operate differently.
Well, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Because
But
there's a ton of women out there that are doing guys stuff. They're single moms. They're kicking ass and paying bills,
okay.
and they have the weight of their family on their shoulders. So
Okay. And absolutely, that's their perspective. Was still, I'm saying, in terms of men are judged way differently than women, right?
yeah,
So I guess that's what I'm trying to get at is men are judged differently. It's not only looks, it's also what you have in your bank account, what you drive, the image of success. Instead of actually getting to know someone and their actual like true heart and their being
sure,
of that person, right? Like now again, I'm not a female and I don't have their perspective, but I can
right.
promise you that it's a different weight to walk around with.
Yeah, I think if nowadays, I mean, it's hard to find a good woman that is looking for what's inside. I mean, they are out there,
Absolutely
um,
there.
but the majority, yes, you're going to get, especially if you look if you're not a good looking guy and you don't have a good job and all that stuff. I mean, you might as well chalk it up, and
Hmm.
it's going to be really hard. So
Let's this is the part of it I was really looking forward to sharing with everybody. We have some statistics that Matt and I have been looking at, and we want to bring up and share with everybody. Right here, we have what a thousand men said about their mental health. Matt, can you read that first block for us?
yeah, so it says the biggest cause of mental health issues in men's lives. Um, Number one, with 32% is work pressure.
Facts.
Yeah. Number two, right behind it, and I think they obviously coincide with each other, is financial issues.
Facts.
And then number three is their health,
Hmm.
which is interesting to me because um, I had to think about that, right? Like, and I think it is a lot of men neglect themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't have called having their health number three. To real
Yeah.
talk, I wouldn't have thought it was at 23%. I think that's high.
Yeah.
I think just going off myself, I feel like I could slide a couple other things in there before the health part, but
Yeah.
depending, I guess, age too, right? Age plays a factor, and when you
Sure.
start taking your health more seriously.
Yeah. The next box says 40% of men polled said it would take, what does it say? 40% men polled said it would take thoughts, they would have thoughts of suicide or self harming to compel them to ask for help. So basically, they're not going to ask for help or go see anybody until they think they're going to take their life.
I think 40%. So it's saying 40% of men won't go until that point.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Which,
Okay.
yeah, I can see that. And that's part of the problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many issues that are building before that even gets to the climax or where you're suicidal,
Well,
right?
it takes a strong person to understand when you're at in that moment and in that world to go and seek help.
Right.
I mean, so I think 40%, I think as high or as low as that number is, I think I mean, it could be worse, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
well,
damn near
that's I
half.
mean, yeah, that's coming from people who are even willing to talk about it. So,
Of course.
there's millions of others that they're not even going to say anything. And that brings us to the third box, which is 40% of men have never spoken about their mental health to anyone.
40
And
so 40% of men haven't spoke. Okay. Wow.
right, they've not spoken to anyone about their mental health. And to break that down, 29% say they are too embarrassed to speak about it.
That makes sense.
And then 20% say there's a negative stigma on the issue. So
I can go ahead.
I think the negative stigma is a little bit, you know, what you were saying. It's you don't want to seem weak, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to seem like you can't handle quote unquote your shit. You
Mhm.
can't take care of your business, and that's hard, man. It's hard for a man in the traditional role where he does have the weight of everything on his shoulders, and he's dealing with demons,
Mhm.
and trying to deal with stuff emotionally. It's he doesn't want to walk into the house and be like, "Hey, I can't handle this. I need to go
Right.
see a therapist." It's a really hard step to take.
Yeah, especially when you don't have. I mean, I was going to disagree with the 20% and the negative stigma, but I guess it's who you're going to open up to. My initial thought when I reacted to it when you read it, I was thinking of like, well, you're with a therapist, right? I was already I was assuming that that's where they would be. But
Right.
if you go with the families that don't necessarily may have the support, or you think that they're going to judge you because of it, that's completely understandable. But I also, at the same breath, I think that a lot of them go together.
Yeah.
Too embarrassed because of the negative stigma. I think
Yes,
you
they
see what I'm saying?
coincide. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They definitely coincide, and that's how you're raised, right? That's
Hmm.
like the
Yeah. Of course.
the stigma and everything that society puts on a man, right? Um, which
It's hard.
yeah, and like I said, a lot of men are too embarrassed, to even go in your group of friends, if and say like, hey man, I can't deal with this stuff, I need help,
Hmm.
I need to talk to
Hmm.
somebody, um, I'm depressed. They're thinking that, of course, they're going to get looked at as weak or, you know,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I've had to ask for help, whether it be like financial help or, you know, um, just being like, hey man, like I need to get something off my chest. And at the time, it's always right before you make the call. This when you're at your lowest and you're like, dude, this is fucking.
right,
It's gut wrenching, but you make the call,
right,
and then after you get your little elevator pitch out about like why you're calling and that you need help, um, you kind of it's funny how it works. You start to unwind a little bit and things slow down and go backwards, and you're like, okay, wait, okay, I'm managing this. Like, oh, this was a good call. So I've never every time that I've actually done that, and probably done it less than I need, like I should have, but every time
right.
I've done it, it's been a great outcome, and I feel better about it, and it strengthens that bond and that understanding.
Yeah, 100%. So the last one says 77% have suffered with symptoms of negative mental health. So
Oh, that's absolutely, honestly, I could see that number
it's
being
probably higher.
a lot higher for
Yeah,
sure, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
What
and that's
go ahead, brother.
yeah. I mean, and that's just the men, like we were saying. That's just the men that are willing to speak.
Hmm.
Uh, and I do think nowadays it's less taboo. When we talk about the military all the time and
Yeah.
how from when we started in 2008 to now, you
Hmm.
know, for someone to say back in 2008, if we came back from Afghanistan and someone said, like I'm depressed or I'm having these thoughts,
Right.
I mean, what would the outcome be for them?
It wouldn't have been nice. It wouldn't have
Right,
been welcoming. I mean, the chain of command would have had to do. I honestly think, and this is my honest opinion, even with our chain of command that we had, I think that they would have gone through the process. But I think, depending on the severity of it, you would have gotten shit along the way. But they would
oh
have done
yeah,
it because that's what they have to do, and there's a paper trail at that point,
right. But
right? So,
what?
well, real quick,
Uh,
I got recommended to go see like a volunteer therapist. Have I talked about this on the show?
I don't. No, I don't think so.
So I'll make it quick. It was right when we got back from Afghanistan. Our first sergeant made me go, and I was going to see this like little old lady in this room over by the entrance of base, right? And I was going for a few weeks, and the last week, dude, I was just like, it was a horrible day, and I never understood in the beginning, like trying to talk to somebody early on, and like I didn't even understand recovery, but
Right.
uh, I was like, man, why am I going to this place? And she's telling me to like talk about all the shit that really pisses me off.
Right.
And then like 40 minutes because that's what she's volunteered for. And then I have to drive back into like the military life.
Sure.
Right. So now I'm high strung. I'm amped up. So the last time I was there, she just digs in and we really, really get in deep into some things, right? And we're all done, and I remember walking back to my car. I'm in uniform. I'm in
Right.
deserts. My sleeves are up. I put my cover on, and I'm walking to my car. I get into my car, and I turn it on, and I go to pull forward out of the parking spot. I'm not thinking, right? I'm in a completely different world,
Yeah.
and I hit like a curb and one of those parking stops, and there was like a little median, right? And I didn't see it, and I was driving an Audi at the time, so super low, and I
Oh yeah.
crushed it. And dude, I just started beating the hell out of my steering wheel, and I was like, ah, I lost it. Right, I had a complete
Sure.
meltdown, and as I look up, there's the therapist, the little old lady. And she has her books and her folders, and she's standing there just watching me beat the shit out of my car. And I put it in reverse, and I was like, "Ah, ah, ah," and I got out of there. And needless to say, I never went back.
Yeah. I'm sure she
She
was probably happy about that too.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Wow, I dodged a bullet on that one."
Right.
But it was difficult, man. I
Yeah.
never understood it, and kind of like with the same idea with PTSD, things were never really broke down and explained to me.
No. No. Yeah. And what what is the label? I mean, if you go see a therapist and you talk to somebody about stuff's going on in your head, your label is broken, right?
Yeah,
You're broken.
absolutely.
Like
Especially in
you're
a
not
combat unit, you're not useful because they understand you're undeployable.
right.
Like you can't be a part of the machine, a part of the movement.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that's a major reason, especially in the military. Absolutely. So I got
Yeah.
I got another slide here, statistics. I thought these were interesting. You want to read these ones?
Yeah, I got you, brother. So the first one up there, 16 million males are affected by mental health issues each year. I think that's a high
Yeah,
number. 37% of men received mental health services in 2019. I think I'd be interested to see what's going to happen moving forward, especially after COVID. Because remember, that's
that's a
pre-COVID.
big one. Yep.
That's going to be a
That's
big one. So let's take a note on that, and let's look back into that. Suicide is the seventh leading cause of the death amongst males in the U.S.
yeah.
That's that's a lot. That's a high number. Um, 1 in 5 men develop alcohol dependency during their lives. What
That's
interesting.
that's
What do you
crazy,
think of
right?
that? Well, 1 in 5 men. Wow, it's
That's and if you like really look around, that statistic makes a lot of sense, right?
you're actually you're not
Because
wrong.
it's socially acceptable. Um, and that's
Mm,
usually what guys go to, right? Is
yeah.
you come home, you have a drink, or you go
Like,
out with
yeah,
your
Joe.
friends, you have a drink. Um, I mean, you watch that. Most men watch, their father do that.
Yeah, right.
Come home, get a glass of scotch, or come home, crack a beer.
Yep.
Um, and that's exactly what happens.
Mhm.
That's I gotta get the edge off. I gotta wash away the day, and
We're
and then
creatures
just
of
wait.
habit too, right? We're creatures of habit. So it's our environment's gonna kind of give us some sort of outline of what we're gonna probably do, and especially when you grow up and you start learning stresses, and if you don't know how to manage things properly, again, manage your emotions and understand them. Yeah, I can see that number right there for sure. The next one, men are more than 4 times as likely to die by suicide in the U.S. than women. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Again, there are different stresses. There's different stressors and responsibilities that men have that women don't, and vice versa. We're not here to compare them tonight, but and lastly, 14% of men are diagnosed with anxiety disorder.
yeah.
Um, hmm.
I'm sure it's a lot larger than that.
Yeah, I think 14. I mean, but again, now we got to go back up and we got to go back to the other slide and remember who's actually talking.
Right.
So, right. So, I mean, those are 14% of the people that are actually talking and either claiming they have anxiety or they don't.
Yeah, and that is definitely a disorder that coincides with um, financial stressors, work stressors. You're
Right.
always worried, right? Like, think
Yeah.
about it. How much of your day do you spend worried about something?
For me, I can tell you, brother, over the last since I created myself a good old debt pile. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Well,
find until I mean up until 3 months ago, I got it paid off, brother. Like every single moment of every day, stressed about
yeah,
something and just worried about something and
right.
anticipation and planning and all the things that I suck at were always in the forefront.
Yep. I mean, you're worried about work. When you're at work, you're worried about, your significant other, your kids. When you're at home, you're worried about work.
Yeah.
You know, I
Ugh.
mean, it's nonstop. So, yeah,
You have you have any other slides you can throw up?
well, I got we talked we did the poll that one time, and
Mm.
talked about what words of affirmation men like to hear are beneficial to them, and I saw this it says, please ask the men in your life this regularly.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it says if they're okay,
Okay.
how their day went, and what challenges they encountered.
That's interesting. Like everyone's always say, how's your day? It's a standard cookie cutter phrase,
Sure.
question. Oh, my day's good. You get the typical answers. Oh, it was tough. Freaking Beth was being a dick and da da da. Oh yeah, I know. Well, I couldn't get this done.
Right.
I like that. What challenges did you encounter today?
Right.
I
Just
like that. That's interesting. That's cool.
um if they need a hand with anything,
Mm.
if they want to relax for a while or do a fun activity with you. That's,
Ah,
I mean,
massive,
massive, right? Yeah.
huge,
Yep.
huge. To be able to
Immediately,
confront, yep, to be able to take that and nip it right in the bud right out the gate, to get even asked before you even have to think about even explaining is massive to make that decision. But listen, I think with that ask on the for sticking up on the woman's side, you have to there's got to be a give and take every time. You can't be running to the back room, hopping into the studio and shutting down, right? Like for me, that's what I would do.
right.
Now, when that question's presented 3, 4, 5 times or however many times, you got to say, let's go do something fun together. You have to start breaking it up so you're not just stuck in a pattern and
Oh,
then
yeah.
it's just a selfish move, right? Like eventually you have to kind of give in to the other side.
Yeah.
What else you got?
The last one for the questions to ask is if they're rested and eaten properly.
Well, listen, I'm not even going to say it.
Well,
I was just say, listen, and any woman that I've ever been around and raised by or with, I've never had a problem. They got to feed you. They've always kept me fed. So
yeah.
I've never had to worry about that.
But I think that that's so crucial too, because along with the anxiety and all the other things, the rest part is something that,
Mm.
who's actually getting a good night's sleep,
It's
you
the
know?
quality of the rest that you're actually getting when you're resting and you have downtime, right? So like being able to clear your mind, being able to be in that moment of rest is I would imagine is very, very minimal.
Yeah. So then there's a caveat to those. It says, furthermore, don't forget to reassure them and express your gratitude for them.
Hmm.
Um, Encourage them to talk, but don't force them, right? So
Okay.
listen to them without offering any advice.
Okay.
And then finally, hug them and tell them that you have them or that you love them. So, that kind of went with that list that we were talking about,
Yeah.
that was more of a fun list. I think just a lot of times with men, it's so simple, because that's really, at the end of the day, they're going to take care of whatever, like, you're going to take care of your business, right?
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that just hugs you or puts their hand on your back, and tells you they appreciate you, or, you know, I see what you're doing, and I appreciate it, and everything's going to be okay. I love you. Like, those simple words and that small amount of time that it takes to do that
Hmm.
can recharge someone's battery, like, instantly.
I've always said that it's sometimes when I'm in like a fit of rage and I can't even understand what it's like being on the receiving end of it. But
Right.
sometimes being able to just to be like grab, make that connection and like be like everything's gonna be cool. Everything's gonna be okay.
Right.
Because in that moment it's not, but having that calmness and like the kind of tranquil like person to be able to look you in the eye in the fit of rage, it takes a special person to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's it's human behavior to flee from something like that, right?
Yeah.
Marines, we're trained a little bit differently. We go towards the chaos,
Yeah.
but
That's true.
nobody really comes towards our chaos unless you find that special somebody, right?
Right.
So I think that's important to note. To tie up some of the mental health stuff, I think um, I wanted to touch on a little bit, just being a veteran in the workforce. So it's kind of getting a little bit more granular with the mental health of men, and then now mental health with veterans. I don't want to discredit the females in this part of it either. Uh, but I'm just saying from the male point of view, like this week, I had a hell of a week trying to just trying to keep up with it. Um, I just become I don't know for some I keep saying like or in my head I keep like well I see the bigger picture and like I don't cor- you know corporate America sometimes just like it just gets me,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to manage it, especially dealing with like incompetent people.
Right.
It's and I know that I listen, dude, I'm not the easiest person probably to work with, as you know.
Uh, I
You
know, I've worked with you many, many times.
and but I'm effective, and I'm always mission oriented, and I'm going toward and tip of the spear. But man, I just some things just don't like equate with me, and I shut down
Yeah.
because I'm like I just can't. I don't understand the disorder or the lack thereof order, or however you want to say it. Like I don't know the proper way to say it, but it's something I guess is just ingrained in me, and it has to be the military. That's like, dude, it's literally like trying to read Korean. When somebody does something that I'm like,
Yeah, it
so
doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't compute.
what like, and I'm not trying to like call out jobs, but like, do you experience that in your day to day?
Yeah, I mean, it is completely normal, I think, for a veteran who's conditioned to working a certain way, right?
Right.
Like you're given a task and then you go do it, and you do it with some intensity and a little bit of purpose, right?
Mhm.
And the follow through is always there. Where when you go to work with civilians, it's completely different, and that's a hard adjustment. Having to learn to deal with people who just might not care as much about the mission or the
Anything.
task. Yeah.
Anything.
Some of them don't. Some of them don't care about anything. So, and I think what the issue is there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like in the military, there's you get in their ass and
Mhm.
all that stuff. Like,
Well, because what happened in the military, there's a standard, and there's a standard to uphold, especially in whatever MOS or job that you have, right? So, like, if you're in a high intensity ground combat unit where you have to have your Marines slash soldiers in a high stressful environment to be able to perform in high stressful environments, it's science. I understand that,
right.
you know, but man, you're the minority in that regard, and but it's bad to be that because everyone looks at you like you're crazy. I went to the post office the other day, mailed out 2 packages. I was there for 30 minutes at the desk at the front counter.
Yeah.
Now mind you, I was sending out one international, so I had to fill out a little bit of paperwork, and I just moved to the side, and I filled it out. Got back to the window. That took me less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
30 minutes standing there. And the gentleman, all he had to do is move from like one side of the glass to the other side to like move the
Right.
packages on and off the scale. Brother, it was like watching a snail. And this is how he's typing: click, click, click,
Right.
click, click. I was sending a package to the United Kingdom.
That's what
Click,
it seemed.
click,
Yeah.
click, click. Dude,
Yeah.
it drove me absolutely out of control, dude. Like to the point I got back in, I was like white knuckled when I got into my car.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it, dude. Is there's that people operate at their own pace. There's nothing you can do about it. Um, you
Is
just
there
got to
no
do it.
common courtesy like that? Is that not a thing? Is that
I
not a
think
thing?
so. I think you'll find people who um were raised in a way that they're gonna when they're at work they're gonna work right with some purpose, but a lot of times the majority of people just they really don't know how to work, and they want to go to work to collect a paycheck, but they don't
Yeah,
want to work.
right. So they
You know,
just everything's half-assed. You guys, let us know what you think in the comments if you think that um, if there should be a common courtesy in terms of a little bit of intensity during the work, and especially in a service. Like you, not only are you wasting your time, your pathetic time, you're wasting my time, right? Like you're wasting my time. So like there has to be some sort of like give and take in this relationship.
yeah.
You
Well,
know what's really funny? I'm gonna go completely off topic right now, but in terms of a debate, I watched this guy try to on camera debate with his wife about how when men go to the bathroom, there's 2 seat rotations that they're responsible for, that we as men are responsible for, the putting up and putting down. When women go to the bathroom, they have 0 seat seat repetitions. So he was asking, he said, in all fairness to our marriage, I think it's respectable that you take over some of the repetitions and we each split one of the duties. And she ended up getting up and walking away. But I thought it was hilarious that, hey man, you got to pitch in.
yeah. Honestly, I have no idea what that means. It was probably one of the dumber things you've said.
What? Do you not? Okay, so when a guy goes to the bathroom, he's responsible
I
for
get it, but I mean, it doesn't
putting the
even make
seat
sense.
up,
Why would
peeing, and
he?
then putting the seat down. And he was simply bringing to his wife saying, listen, I think in our marriage, you need to be responsible for at least 1 seat repetition. I'm done doing 2.
Why would
So
she?
basically, she has to be responsible for putting it down instead
That
of a guy having to pick it up and down.
doesn't sound like a very smart man.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one question. Is a hot? We've talked about this before. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No,
What is it?
it's a hot dog.
Okay, why isn't it a sandwich? You want me to tell you why it's not a
Yeah,
sandwich?
yeah.
I'm just saying because, and this is the argument, because a sandwich is technically in between two pieces of bread. A hot dog's technically one slit. It's an actual one piece of bread. It's a bun,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I was hoping you were going to say something.
I'm completely.
All right. I thought you, anyways, I thought you were going to disagree with it, or you were going to say something where I could have got you, but you agreed with me. So damn it. I couldn't catch you there, but nobody. It was a great show tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate the hard work you put into it. It's been a hell of a couple weeks coming back from the Marine Corps birthday and trying to get back in the swing of things of the show.
Yeah.
But I think we're back. I think we're going to get back on schedule. We just started reaching out to guests from the Marine Corps birthday. We still have so much content that we are still editing and filing through right now, trying to pull out the best stuff so we can show you guys. So please stay tuned to that. If you already haven't, can you please make a YouTube account and come on over to Disarranged Talk Show? Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell button. And if you're someone off screen listening live right now and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure that I'm definitely going to go check after this and see if we've at least gone up one subscriber. Everybody listen.
We might have lost one with that toilet story.
All right. Well, listen, we don't need to get into why we lose subscribers, but
okay.
We do appreciate everybody for coming around week after week. I can't believe we made it to episode 47, but we do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to have a phenomenal show for you guys. We can't wait to share it with you. And as always, this is the Disarranged Talk Show, where a healthy network is a strong network. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Thank you for joining us. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.